Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am the Wasteland Viking, and welcome back to Warhammer Quest. Last time we went through the tutorial and learned a little bit more of the mechanics of the game, and also a little more understanding of how items and that sort of thing works. Today, we are going to be starting our first official dungeon with our full party. And sorry for the audio last time with my voice. It was hard to hear me, I know. My mic volume was all the way up, and also my headset mic, it was facing upward and not towards me, so that's another fun reason why. But also, I am now just projecting my voice more. So I'm going to be trying that out and see how it works. From some test recordings and things, I seem to like it more, and it's working a lot better. So I'm able to have the game volume up a little bit higher, and we'll see how that all works out. I have to make a confession. I also recorded this dungeon, going into settlement, doing some of the things in there, side quest, and then the main quest from the settlement, but same thing, audio was not the best, and also editing, it was hard to do. So I decided just to, kind of go through the tutorial and start off here where we left off in the first episode. So yeah, I know some more mechanics and understand a little bit better, but I will still go through those for those who want to know those things and whatnot. And we're going to be going through the stats of the characters and learn a little bit more of the lore behind our adventures here. So, squashing bugs. Every adventure starts somewhere. Yours begins with the promise of gold from a mad old farmer. He seems to think the local spider populace is amassing an army to rise up and eat his crops, and possibly him as well. Your party find themselves standing at the entrance to an abandoned mine. Plow through these arachnids and we can go collect our reward. Alright. So once again, using the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Holding down and dragging left click moves the camera. And I'll try to be a bit more aware of the watermark here in the center of the screen. So I'll be doing more things down here and trying to keep it under, from here down. But we'll see how that goes. So let's start with character stats and knowing more about our adventurers here in our new party. So we'll go to the inventory, and up here on the top left it pops up this page here. So the Dwarf Ironbreaker, level 1, Gotrek Stonebrow. And all the names are randomized, so whenever you start a new game or get a new character, you can swap out certain people at a certain time, and we'll get to that point. But it's this is his own person, and you can retire people and get new ones. And if we got another Ironbreaker, then it's totally separate person, which I think is cool. It's not a copy and paste of everything. So let's read the fluff first and then go into the numbers. Like all dwarfs, Ironbreakers are bearded, proud, and short, but what they lack in height, they make up for with a stocky, muscular build perfectly suited for swinging large war axes and cleaving through goblin heads in enclosed spaces. They excel at such things as that is the prime duty of an Ironbreaker. They are armed, armored, and trained to guard the lower tunnels and crucial underground entrances of the last surviving dwarf holds. Magnificent ancient underground fortresses that are now remnants of a crumbling empire. When not tasked with such a sacred duty, an Ironbreaker is a great asset to any band of adventurers, as their experience in combat amidst the close confines of a dungeon passage cannot be matched. Alright, so they like doing their own thing. They are a close combat, hard-hitting person. 4 movement, weapon skill of 3. This is their melee abilities. 2 ballistic skill. This is the character's ranged abilities. 4 strength and 4 toughness. This is the strength is how the skill predicts their to hit chance, and then the strength predicts their damage output. Their damage output, including the weapon damage. And then toughness is like an armor class. It's how easy it is to deduct or reduce the amount of wounds taken from any attacks. I believe it's just melee, but we'll read into that a little bit more. Melee attacks, just 1, and no ranged attacks, and pinning of 2. So pinning is its own stat. I don't know why, but it's just the chance of your character being able to actually pin an enemy and they can't move that turn. They can still attack, but they won't be able to move for that turn. So he has 14 wounds. This is the experience bar, so it's 2,000 experience to get to level 2. And then from there, we'll be getting more abilities and things like that. So his equipment: Dwarven Axe, 1 to 6 damage, and chance to slam. So I think that this is just a chance to do extra damage in general. I'm not sure if it's a splash effect where, he hits and then enemies adjacent to that one main target also gets a little bit of damage, but I would assume it's a splash, not slam, but I don't know. We'd have to see how that works out. Like all things made by dwarf hands, a dwarven axe is a quality weapon with a sturdy haft and a keen blade. Nice. And it's a 2-handed weapon. His helmet is a battered dwarven helm, plus 1 max wounds. And the items are race or class specific. So all dwarves can use this, and only the dwarf Ironbreaker can use this helm. Even an old or battered helm is better than none at all, especially when the helmet was forged by a dwarf smith. And this is obviously how much it's worth in the market. I think we went over that in the tutorial, or I explained it in the tutorial. And then small bandages, heals 1 to 3 wounds. And then, so this is character sheet, equipment, and this is their abilities. Alright, so it looks like he doesn't get anything at level 1. I wonder why. Probably because he is hardier than the other ones. That's my only guess. Other than that, I don't see why it would be having that issue. Or, not having that ability. So to our Waywatcher, Nath Shadowstrider. Wood Elves are deeply suspicious and often overtly hostile to all other races. Such as the distrust they jealously guard the borders of their forest kingdom, keeping the realm's hidden tracks and secret paths under constant vigil by an elite group of deadly accurate archers and master hunters known as Waywatchers. Even amongst their own kin, Waywatchers are known as solitary individuals, more at home wandering the forests under their camouflaged cowl with long bow in hand. And yet very occasionally a few Waywatchers will form a desire, be it a stirring of their heart or even a personal quest entrusted to them by Queen Ariel, to search beyond the Wood Elf realm of Athel Loren and seek out other places and beings that may need their protection. So she's got 4 movement, 3 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength, 3 toughness. She's a very average character with 1 melee attack and 1 ranged attack with a pinning 8. So she can attack units in the backfield and kind of in the middle behind front lines to actually pin down key enemies or anything like that. And once again, 2,000 experience. Her equipment, fill, load up. Should be fine. She has a one-handed elven sword, 2 to 4 damage. Elven swords are among the finest crafted weapons in the old world. Their keen blades are capable of toppling even the largest of foes. So, like we learned in the tutorial, she's able to do her melee attack and range attack in the same turn. And her elven bow, 5 to 7 damage. So the Way Watcher and Shadow Warrior can use this, and all elves can use this sword. The bows of the elves are rightly seen as the best in the world. Even the most basic example is crafted among the shoddy abilities of men or dwarfs. So how her class is built is to have a one-handed weapon, probably preferably a sword. I don't know. There might be some elven axes, and the bow. Because if she had a two-handed weapon, when you're in combat, inventory is locked, so she won't be able to switch out the two-handed sword for her bow. So I think the class is built just to have a one-handed weapon and do that. I don't know why it's classified as a helmet, but it's an amulet. Wood Elf 1, if that. Plus 1 max wounds, and she's the only one that can use it. A tough and rugged hood tailored by Wood Elf seamstresses makes it a high-quality garment sought after by many beings, not just Wood Elf kin. Alright, fair enough. And then she also has small bandages, 1 to 3 wounds. Her skills / abilities. Right now, just level 1 dodge. It's a passive. The Way Watcher is able to dodge attacks. Whenever she is attacked, she has a chance to dodge the blow, so it causes no damage. Alright. Very basic for a character like this. I like the last name Shadow, or the, title, Shadow Strider. It's pretty neat. Let's go to our Marauder. Sartar the Raven. Or Sartar. I don't remember if in Norse saying, or Norse enunciation, if that's a roll of an R, or if it's, I don't remember what the syllable is for that. But Sartar the Raven. To the north lies the realm of chaos, and its shadow are leagues upon leagues of wilderness, hinterlands that are home to many different tribes of men who worship the ruinous powers. The closest of these fell lands to the Empire is Norska. Norska are Chaos Vikings, pretty much. So that's why they have names like this, or other, Viking feel type of names. The Norse are fierce barbarians, usually tall and broad in stature, hard-bitten and warlike with a thirst for adventure. The Marauders the Marauders who live on the southern coast of Norska, where the land gouges into the Sea of Claws. Yeah, the Sea of Claws is between the northernmost coast of the Empire and Norska. So the Empire Wastelands, I think that they're called, are the furthest tribes from the realm of chaos, and so are said to be the least favored of their gods, and the most likely to be seen openly in more civilized lands as a result. So Norska is connected to the Chaos Wastes, which are kind of like a fire and brimstone, lava, hell-ridden environment. I think it's really cool. It's depicted quite a bit in the Total War Warhammer games and some other illustrations, probably in novels. I've never read a single Warhammer novel, fantasy, or 40k. So as far as lore in an actual writing sense, I haven't seen it or read it myself. So a lot of my knowledge is just going to be based off, honestly, the Total War Warhammer games, where I've seen a few people play it, but it's pretty close to the actual world map. that I'm aware of anyway. So our Marauder has 4 movement, 3 weapon skill, 2 ballistic skill, 5 strength. So he deals a lot of damage, and 3 toughness. So he's not as hardy as the dwarf, which is fine. Marauders and Norska in general aren't known for their armor, until you get into the heavier units. But 1 melee attack, 1 ranged attack, and 1 pinning. So he won't be doing much of the pinning type of stuff in the melee. But yes, there's some bows he can use to ranged attack, ranged weapon. But I think I'm going to keep him with the shield and the axe, because that's what Marauders are known for. There are ranged Marauder units, but in general, I like him being up in the front. Oh, right. Wrong person. I meant to click on his equipment. Back up. Alright. His equipment is a hand axe, 1 to 5 damage. Marauder and the Ironbreaker can use it. I need to start remembering these names. So Gotrek, I think he's actually named Gotrek, and I forgot the name, but he's a legendary character in Total War Warhammer, and also in the lore. That's just who he is. So Gotrek, Nath, Sartar, and Karl. Oh, that's a lot easier to remember. Aw. Alright. So Gotrek can use this axe as well, but I'm going to leave him with 2-handed, I believe. And then him as much as I can with a 1-handed and shield. It's just give him a little bit more protection for his lower toughness. Hand axes are simple and versatile weapons with the added bonus that your warrior can always chop some firewood after they're done adventuring. That's true. Always gotta have that. Well, I mean, he can chop wood as well with his axe, but... wooden shield. Chance to block. I don't know what the percentage chance is for it. It is just RNG roll. But he does have a chance to take no damage from an enemy that turn. Wooden shields are the most common form of shields. They don't offer the best protection, although when banded with metal, they are very sturdy and still lighter than a holy metal shield. Fair enough. His horned helmet gives him +1 max wounds. No self-respecting tribesman will be seen outside the north without a formidable helmet. The horned helm looks suitably intimidating and offers a measure of protection. Small bandages as well. His ability is Berserk. It's passive. The Marauder has a chance to go Berserk at the start of each turn when enemies are present or when enemies appear. So whenever he sees an enemy or they pop up from a surprise attack or anything like that, he has a chance to Berserk at the start of his turn. Or the battle turn, so the party turn. There is a chance that he is unable to control himself and swings wildly, damaging adjacent warriors and preventing him from taking any actions for the remainder of the turn. So what I'm going to try to do is keep, especially Gotrek, like opposites from Sartar, just so that he doesn't, get a swing at him and deal, anywhere between... Well, I think it's his strength and weapon damage, chance and things like that together. So a minimum of 4 to, whatever, like a 7 or 6, whatever his... Sorry, I gotta check. 5. So he can deal quite a bit of damage to him if it comes down to that. And then after that, he can't take any actions for the remainder of the turn. That includes moving. So he's just stood there. He can't do anything. If he is able to control himself, he remains in a berserk state and gains 1 attack until the end of combat. The Marauder's chance of controlling himself increases as he increases battle level and as he kills enemies in each round of combat. So I'm going to have him be hitting quite a bit because he can control it better as he, gains higher level, which obviously killing things gives you experience to level up, and also each round of combat. Oh, the more enemies he kills in a combat round, he will also be able to control it better. So if he's out by his own, or, you know, kind of not being able to do anything that turn, he will most likely fail it and be able to control it. But if he's in the middle of combat just whacking at things, he'll be fine. Alright, so that's Starter, our Marauder. Sartar, I meant. Now our Grey Wizard, Karl Steingart. I like that. That's a very Empire name. The 8 colleges of magic have been centers of arcane learning in the Empire for centuries. Each college, also known as orders, specializes in one of the 8 lores of magic. The Grey Order studies the lore of shadows formed from the wind of Ulgu. It is a magic of concealment, illusion, and trickery, lending an air of suspicion around those that practice it, namely the Grey Wizards. This reputation is often a hindrance as much as an ally, for Grey Wizards are a true itinerants. Out of all the colleges, it is the Grey Wizards who travel the furthest and therefore the most likely to attach themselves to a group of wandering adventurers, even if their agendas are quite different to the Wizard's own. So he's a good lad. He'll do what we want him to do, even if he doesn't want to do it. So I don't know all of the colleges of magic. Like it says that there are 8. But Grey Wizards are, like I said, the shadowy type. Excuse me. And there's another character you can get, the Bright Wizard, that does the fire magics and spells and things like that. At some point it would be fun to get him because he'll deal a lot more damage than this guy does. And then there's also an Archmage. I don't know what separates Archmages from the other ones. Do they know all the different kinds? Or is it like Archmages... Sorry, I just bumped my mic. Or are they more of... I don't know. Healing ones? I don't know. If any of you know, leave in the comments. That'd be muchly appreciated. But yeah, so he's got 4 movement, 2 weapon skill, 1 ballistic skill. So he won't be doing much of these. He does have a one-handed sword that he can use, or one-handed weapon he can use. But the problem is that his weapon skill is low, and same with his strength. So even if he does land a hit, it won't do much damage. But he has some spells that are pretty handy with every situation. But we'll get into those in a minute. 2 strength, 3 toughness, 1 melee attack, no ranged, and 3 pinning. So he's alright with possibly being able to pin. And he has 10 wounds. His equipment: a short sword, 1 to 3 damage. The Marauder can also use this, and all wizards can use it. But it does so little damage. I want the Marauder to be heavy hitting. Easy to handle and quick to strike with. Short swords are swift and deadly close quarters weapons. So yeah, I'll let him keep this. I'll be giving him... I feel bad, but I'll probably be giving him dump items. So hand-me-downs, almost. Unless we can find him a better, just one-handed weapon in general. So that if he does end up hitting, he could deal more damage or just have a better chance of hitting, you know? Grey Wizard Staff plus 1 max wounds. Only the Grey Wizard can use this, obviously. To a wizard, a staff is as important as a lance to a knight. While a staff offers limited combat ability, the magic-using owner is more concerned with how it interrelates with the winds of magic, acting like a divining rod, allowing the wizard to channel the nascent power into spells. So it is his spell focus, essentially. If he doesn't have this, I don't think he can cast spells. If I say anything that isn't a Warhammer term, my background of RPGs in general is Dungeons and Dragons, so if I say that kind of terminology and not Warhammer terminology, I hope you guys understand. But from my understanding, most people that also do Warhammer also do D&D, so it should be pretty easy to follow. And the small bandages heals 1 to 3 wounds. And he also has an uncommon item, So you can have 4 of each tier of item, as long as it's not being replaced, I think. No, actually, you could just use 4 of each kind. So it's like if any of them get a better weapon or sets of armor or anything like that, they can move it down to the next tier and then have more, let's say, weaker healing items or just, weaker consumables in general, and then just slowly rack up the good items. So he has the Finger of Death Scroll, which does 15 to 30 damage. I will not be saving this until we actually go up against like a really hard boss. Like if we're having a hard time hitting him, it's just like bam. I believe these automatic hit. All spells automatic hit if you can see somebody. Scrolls in the old world contain words of power. When read, the script will leave the parchment and a dread hex or boon is enacted. Alright, cool. His abilities. He might be getting class-specific abilities, but I believe it's just spells that he'll be getting. But we'll see about that. So he has Shadow Daggers. Attack the targeted adjacent enemy as well as anyone standing to the target's left or right. Each Shadow Bolt causes a low number of wounds proportional to the wizard's battle level. So as he gains level, anything that has the proportional to the wizard's battle level will increase in damage. Same with this one. Will increase in damage as he levels up. So they're like leveled up, spells in D&D. Shadow Bolt. The wizard throws a projectile dealing damage to the target and a chance to hit surrounding fighters for minor wounds, proportional to the wizard's battle level. So this one you target on an enemy, and I think it's anybody or, just an area effect that's the 8 squares around the target. Healing Mist. Heal the targeted warrior for 1 to 6 wounds. This will be helpful and very handy if he has the Winds of Magic to cast it. What I'm going to try to do is actually have him do the Healing Mist as often as he can. And during my previous recordings of this, I have noticed that the dungeons are a bit harder than I remember. And I was like, and when I said it was like, if they're at half health, I'm not going to top them off kind of thing. I think I will, especially the Gotrek and Sartor here. Just because anything could happen. Sorry, I bumped my mic again. But enemies could hit for really low, and then all of a sudden, bam, they do like 5 wounds to you and almost knock you at half health. So I will be using this as much as I can. And my plan is to also make him a bit more aggressive than I did in the tutorial. Just because, I don't know. Because he is actually handy in melee with this spell. It does low amounts of wounds, but it still does damage. It deals damage. This one, it has a high spell cast. So we'll see how well the RNG is in our favor for these things. Alright, so we learned a bit more about our party and how it all works. So we'll go into it. I'm going to keep these 2 up front and have these 2 in the back. What's your name again? Nath. Okay. Or Naith. I don't know. I think it's Nath. Or Naith. But yeah, I'll be keeping these 2 up front and these 2 in the back, and then they can maneuver if they need to. Same with them. But he's going to be going in first because he has the higher toughness. And 14 wounds, 13, 14, and 10. So he's a little bit squishier. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, damn. I was going to say he was going to go in first. That's alright. We didn't have anybody to attack. Sorry for the lag. In the next couple of weeks or like, I don't know, a month or so, I'll be getting a new rig, a new PC, so hopefully that will, I mean, it will just make things better and easier to use. So at this point, we could get a surprise attack against us, which I hope is not the case. Because sometimes they do suck, and they can spawn behind you as well. That's why I want to keep people as maneuvered as possible. I think in the end, I will end up staggering them as much as I can, just so that there's a space in between and they can move amongst themselves. So far, as long as we can have the 5, because let's go into... Yeah, so the Shadow Dagger's the close-ranged spell. Does 2, Healing Mist 5, and 6 for the Shadow Bolt. Which makes sense, it's an AoE and does a fair bit of damage, I think. But as long as we can keep the 5 up, especially in combat. I hate it when combat hits and it's like, oh, 5. You know, 5s to 10 even happen, but once you go into combat, it's just 2s, 0s, 3, 4. It's so aggravating. But we will move these guys a little bit better. Just going to do that. Yeah. Stagger them up a little bit. Four giant spiders. Let's read about them. Alright, and then there's... So the stuff that we just talked about, and also the Winds of Magic. But, giant spiders. Monstrous spiders are prevalent throughout the lands and lurk under the ground in caves and dungeons waiting for prey to get caught in their deadly webbing, when they can then scuttle down and attack, sinking their venom-coated fangs into helpless flesh. Giant spiders are normally solitary monsters, but will group together and attack when encountering a threat such as the warriors. So sorry for the arachnophobes out there. I'm not one of them. I mean, if they're really big, they kind of scare me, but it's not that bad. Unless they're not real enough. I don't know how it works. If it's like any resemblance of a spider, it happens, or it has to be like, it looks real for it to happen. But this isn't the site for you. So avert your eyes if you're afraid of it. So what I'm going to do is try to move people first and then attack, because once you attack, you can't do anything else. You can't move. So, I'll move him up here. Let's move these guys a little bit further. Move her up. So Carl, Haith, Nith, Gortrek, Gotrek, and Sartar, the Raven. Alright, so let's get some sniping on the go. And what these spiders do is that they web. So what happens when they attack you, they have a chance of webbing you, which is pinning plus. So it pins you, you can't move, and you can't attack. So spiders suck. If we go up against a mix of these guys with, like, say, rats or zombies or anything like that, I will try to attack these guys first, just because of that fact. If you can't attack, it destroys, like, it ruins everything. Not fun at all. Nice. So she can just do the one melee attack. I mean, ranged attack. Melee. Anytime you do a melee attack... Actually, it's in the journal. Yeah, death blow. Let's read into it. Sometimes a warrior will kill an enemy with a single ferocious blow called a death blow. The warrior gains a rush of adrenaline when this happens, causing them to automatically attack an enemy adjacent to their previous target. This additional attack may also be a death blow. So it's kind of like a cleave effect. Anytime you attack, it can become a death blow, and even that death blow can become a death blow. So our melee guys are going to be getting a lot more XP than anybody. So earlier on, I'm going to try to actually get these two to try to attack more often. And if he can do the spells, I mean, right now he can't do any of it. I mean, he could move. I mean, he can't move in range to do anything with that. But I'm going to try to get her, Nath, to also be in an easy position to move into melee and shoot something. The only thing that I am worried about, well, hopefully, if that's the case, she can attack the person that she is in melee with and then shoot, so then there isn't anybody next to her to attack her. So we'll see how that all turns out. I'll move him up. She can't move, he can't move, he can't move. So let's end our turn. Now it's the spider's turn. Have some of my coffee here. Alright, so he's webbed. So as you can see, he can't do any attacks and can't move. So with him, I think since he killed somebody in combat, he had a higher chance of controlling the Berserk. So he has 2 attacks now. So let's move him up. Actually, what's your 2? I mean, everybody but him has 1 kill. I mean, if he can hit, which he doesn't, that's fine. I can actually move him here. It's risky, but the thing is that he only gets experience from killing people, which is going to be a small chance, but also a nice thing is that he gets experience from healing people. So that's a nice little touch that they added into the game. Oh, goodness, I did not know that was the case. I didn't know it was a spread. I thought it was just to the one thing. Oops. But that was a potion of quickness. +2 movement. Yep. So a lot of the items, it's more of the weapons and armor that have their own text piece, but all bandages, all potions, all scrolls have the same text in the back. And I know I read potions in the tutorial, but I'm just going to read them one more time for each kind of thing, and then I don't have to say it anymore. So the old world is full of many different potions and strange tinctures, which can give the imbibber a whole range of abilities. However, warriors should always be careful when drinking liquids from small vials of unknown origins. Alright. We'll try to be more careful. But yeah, I believe we can move her up a little bit more. So at the end of combat, whatever debuffs, I guess you could say, happen, they go away after combat, I believe. Unless it's like an injury, and then those can linger. So let's move these 2 up. Move you back down here. I am doing this slower and more methodical than what people may like. Sorry, that's just how I play games. A lot of the time, unless it's meant to be a fast-paced one, then it's, then I can, go with that flow. But if I can actually take my time, and it's an RPG, I mean, if you don't take your time with RPGs, you're not doing it right, in my opinion. So these 2 we can keep on, moving forward and back if we need them to. One of my problems that I noticed while playing it in the past and also through the tutorial is that I have these guys spread out a lot. So I'm having more of them staying in a place and catching up to people rather than having them closer together in a smaller formation and just move them all together. That's another reason why I'm doing this a bit more methodical, is They all move 4. So, I mean, that's as far as I can move. But being able to get them into certain positions and formations will help out a lot with potential combat tactics and things like that. So I think I'm going to, this time around, keep him more in the middle and her in the back. He is a bit squishier as far as HP is concerned. He has the same toughness and stuff, so it's not like a huge deal. And he does have 10 wounds, so it's not awful. But, well, he's got 6. So let's actually cast off some healing. There we go. Back to full. So I'm going to try to top off as much as we can with the magic. And then in combat use bandages if I don't have enough winds of magic to do all that fun stuff with. So yeah, surprise attacks can happen at any time, anywhere. They can suck, or they're just very easy. It just depends on how the game wants to throw things at us. What I like is you could actually click and move people at the same time rather than waiting for one person to move then the next one. And also, if you select somebody and do some of their movement, you can click on somebody else and move them and then go back to that person and still move them. It's not like Blood Bowl or anything like that where you have to carefully place your people and move them where you need to before you do some actions. Like, you can't, like, if you want somebody to, you know, receive the ball, you can't move the thrower, move the receiver, and then throw. You have to do the moving of the thrower and the throwing in the same turn. That's kind of how it works. But this doesn't do that. I'm glad it doesn't. So I'm going to keep her more in the back, but also try to get her in positions where she can see at least a bit of the room, even if it's straight in, because then she can snipe people in the back and potentially pin people. Alright, squashing bugs. Maybe the old farmer wasn't as mad as you previously thought. Calling the spider horde an army might be a stretch, but he was right. There was a lot down here. From the looks of this room, it's only going to get worse. Alright. What are we doing? Who are we tussling with? 4 spiders and 4 giant rats. Great. So the objective room. The objective room lies at the end of the dungeon and contains the warrior's final goal. When the warriors reveal the objective room, they will typically find that their goal is guarded by many monsters which must be fought and defeated. Can do. Giant rat. Dungeons are not only home to orcs and goblins, but countless broods of vermin lurk within. There are plenty of the more commonly seen rats in the catacombs the warriors will visit, but there are also far more dangerous vermin as well. Rats as big as hounds and twice as bold, ready to reach out with yellowed and scissors and rip the leg off a blundering intruder. Alright, so I forgot that if you left click, if you hold left click on an enemy or your warriors here, it will pop up the basic character sheet. So spiders can move 6, they have 1 weapon skill and ballistic skill, 1 strength, 2 toughness, 1 melee attack, and 1 ranged attack. And then the rats can move 6, 1 weapon and ballistic skill, 2 strength, 3 toughness, 1 melee and ranged attacks, with 2 wounds. So they're relatively easy, but the rats are a bit hardier, which is alright. I'm not too concerned about that. So I'm going to help try to block up some gaps here. What you got? A 2? I'm not going to move him in quite yet with that. How much can you move? You can't move at all, so might as well attack. You can actually move up in here. I think with Death Blow, you attack somebody, it has to be an adjacent unit or adjacent enemy from that. So it's not like attack, death blow, and then you can attack that one. I think. Yeah, see, it didn't even do a death blow. And it's a chance of happening. It's not like it happens every time. So I'm going to try to get rid of the spiders as much as I can. Because they do the web, and that sucks. There we go. She's doing good this time. I'm going to leave him back a little bit. Just in case he can get even Shadow Bolt in. If he had 6, I would have moved him up front and just attacked all these guys. So aim it on him and it would attack those two. Chance of doing damage, yes, but still. Damage is damage. I wonder why the rat didn't attack. So when that death trap happens, I think it's called death trap. Oh, death leap. So whenever that happens, they can, you know, do a reaction attack back. So just because of that alone, he's stacking up the XP, which is fine. So he, that sucks. Okay, so he was unable to control. He was unable to control his berserk. So luckily my guy was further back, so he didn't get attacked, but he can't do anything this next turn. He can't even move, which sucks. Alright, so let's look at this, the pinning. Let's see where all that is. Not interface. Ah, come on, game. No. Oh yeah, this stuff goes into percentages based on skill and what the stat is. Sorry guys, I'm trying to find that. That's annoying. It might be in dungeons. Combat. Yeah. Pinning. Alright, if there is a monster adjacent to your warrior at the start of your turn, there's a chance your warrior will become pinned by the monster. Pinned warriors are unable to move, as they are standing their ground in combat against their opponent. Although pinned warriors may not move, they are still able to attack and use items and magic. So, it's not saying that your warriors can pin as well. Oh, or is it the chance of resisting pinning? That makes sense because she has a high pin and she also has dodge. Because she has dodge, she has a higher pinning. Alright, so I think that's the chance of resisting the being pinned. Luckily there hasn't been enough damage dealt to our guys to do anything. Another, you know, bold move. But I'm just gonna... So he missed his attack, so I'm just gonna do that. See, that's annoying. I didn't know that was the case. I mean, they can take it. So it's better for him to do that when he's by himself, not even next to my other warriors. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. Like I said, luckily they were able to take it. 3 power now. I'm gonna rush you back. Let's get her in there. Get some more kills in. There we go. Alright, arrowheads. This item has no use in combat but can be sold at the market for 12 gold. That's nice. You are victorious. Indeed we are. I enjoyed the music in this game. It's very atmospheric and it's... I wouldn't say like it's chill, but you know, it's not too much, I think. See, he killed 2 and he gained some experience from doing that as well. So I think it does like ranking of who got more XP. Well, actually no, that wouldn't make sense because then he'd be on top. I don't know why they're out of order from other things. Yeah, click and hold on any ability to see the journal page for it. So that also includes the melee and ranged attacks and things like that as well. Okay, squashing bugs. Well done. You've made it out of your first dungeon in one piece, more or less. Now let's go to the nearest settlement, Siegfriedhof, to spend your hard-fought earnings. Click on a settlement, then press the travel button on the settlement card to move there. We received 1 gold for that. 50 gold for that. New journal page, the map. The map is where you navigate your warriors around the Warhammer world. Each settlement will have a quest associated with it. This appears as a red dungeon marker. White dungeon markers denote other types of quests. So those are the side quests that you can pick up it's a random reward. So it's not like a reward pertaining to your party that you have in particular. You could pick up ones for warriors you don't have. Well, at least ones that you don't have bought, because there are DLC warriors you can get, and also different enemy types that you could get, and settlements, I believe, which I purchased this and a few others when I first got this game on Steam about 7 to 8 years ago. But completing these will open up a new settlement to explore. When your party has completed all the red dungeons in a region, a black dungeon will appear. They are incredibly hard, so make sure you prepare yourself before tackling one. Alright, so the red ones are also supposed to be tough. Ironically, I think this is actually a place for a quest. For the first quest we're going to be getting at Siegfriedhof. But, so this is the overworld map. You could travel to each of the regions. There are 3 of them. Where's the 3rd one? I don't know. But there's Reichland, Sturland, which we are in now, and Averland, which I don't know where that is, to be honest, from this perspective. I think it's off down here. If it might actually be up here. I honestly don't know. But yeah, you can fast travel to each one, but I'm not sure if it's like Sturland is beginner level, then Reichland intermediate level. Oh, and it tells you what, like, I was going to say capital, but it wouldn't make sense because Reichland, the capital is, God damn it, I had it in my head, Altdorf. And then Averland, I think, is an advanced, or a hard. So like beginners, intermediate, and I forget what that 3rd word is, like with the difficulty. But anyway, I think that's how it goes. And I like it because, so there are 9 settlements in these 2 and then 13 in the Averland. So how it works is that each city has their own main kind of one quest thing that goes on in it. And that is what you can complete. So I'm going to go one region at a time. That's the plan anyway. So I'm gonna end it here. So we learned a bit more about our warriors, our starting warriors, their stats, their abilities, and just how, in general, more of the combat works, because we had more, things to go with and do. And we got some cool items, some sellables and things like that. Starting to level up our guys. The Marauder Sartar is getting a lot more XP just because of his berserk and also all the death leaps that he was able to react to. But anyway, so I'm going to try to keep them as equal as possible as level, because I don't want somebody to be level 2 or 3 and somebody else still dragging behind at level 1, which sadly might be the wizard, but I don't know how that's going to turn out. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that. I've been enjoying this so far. It's good coming back to this game and actually playing it, and also playing it for you guys. And yeah, thank you for looking at my channel, seeing what it's all about, what I'm all about. I'm an open book, so if you have any questions about me personally or just how the channel is going to be going, and also my social medias potentially. You could just ask and I'll answer to the best of my abilities. But I will have links in the description of my social medias and Patreon if you are wanting to, be part of this community in that way. Everything is appreciated. I'm not expecting to get big fast, but so far I've been getting some views and things like that. So thank you for doing that. And I'll see you next time. Be safe. Bye-bye.